श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ सुखं नित्यं सुप्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृग्यत्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्त वेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं नमत्तोऽन्यत् इति मे निश्चिता मतिः। So from 169 to 225, he is starting a new topic. The new topic is regarding the Purva Upadishta Vishaye Akshepa Samadhanani. Whatever the instruction the Guruji gave him, regarding that, there are some doubts raised and answers given. Because the Guruji gave him permission. Yes, yatha ichham pricha. Ask as many questions as you want and as you want. Whatever doubts you have, you can get it cleared. So now the first topic, Avarta 169 to 188, he says Jiva Brahmano Abheda Nirupanam. So there is a doubt regarding the identity between the individual self and absolute self. That doubt is removed. So he is saying the identity between the individual self and absolute self is established. 169 to 171, he says Jiva Brahma Abheda Vishaye Tattva Drishti Prashnaha. The question raised by Tattva Drishti regarding the identity between the individual self and the absolute self. So, what is the question? 169. Gurupadesham Sangrahena Anudya Sishyaha Swashankham Suchayati. Now, Guruji has explained to him already. He said, I have already told you, you go through that again and again until you gain the knowledge. So, but if you still have some doubts, you can ask. Don't worry. Now, he was reflecting upon the teaching, and now he gives in just whatever the teaching is. And now with regards to that, he is going to ask a question. He says, Hey Swamin, O Lord, Jagat Karanam Ajnanam तस्य अज्ञानस्य तत् प्रयुक्त जगतश्च नाशो ज्ञानेनैव जायते इति भवदुपदिष्टं सम्यक् अवगच्छामि. Oh Lord, you said the cause for the creation is ignorance, and for the ignorance and whatever is the effect of that ignorance, destruction is only through the knowledge. Okay, this whatever you taught me, I understood. There is no doubt. Parantu, but Jagat Mithya Jiva Ananda Swarupah Atascha Sa Jivo Brahmano Na Bhinna iti Bhavatta Upadishte Arthe Jagat Mithyatam Jivasya Ananda Rupattam Cha Avagachami. So, you said knowledge, only knowledge gets rid of the ignorance and its effect. Fine. But you also said the world is illusory and the individual self, Jiva, is of the nature of absolute bliss, and therefore Jiva is not different from Brahman. This is what you said. Now, in this, there are two things I understand. One is the illusoriness of the creation and the blissfulness of the self. Two things from this teaching. One is the illusoriness of the creation. The other is the blissfulness of the self. Okay. Jivo Brahma Abhinna iti amsham navagadharayami. So, I understand this, but you said there are three portions in the teaching. Jagat is mithya, Jiva is of the nature of bliss, and Jiva and Brahman are same. I understand Jagat mithya. I understand also the Jiva is of the nature of bliss, but I don't understand they are identical. So he says, Tayoh Bheda Shanka eva me manasi parivartate. Because in my mind, it is always engulfed with this doubt of they being different. You say they are same. Iti tattva-drishti pruchati. This is what is the question of tattva-drishti. 170. He is raising the doubt proper. So he just gave the gist of doubt. Now, what is the doubt? The seed of doubt is established. Now, what is the doubt? He says, Jivavarmanoho Surupa Bheda Tayoho Aikyam Asangatam iti Shanka. The doubt is since the Jiva and the Ishvara are Jiva and Brahman have completely different characteristics. Their nature is completely different. Therefore, they cannot be established to be identical, one and the same. That is the doubt. What? How different is it? He says, Hey Swami, Lord, Aham hi punya papayoho karta. Tat falabhuta janana marana sukha dukkhadin dini anubhavami. I am the one who is the doer of virtuous and wise acts, good and bad karmas, punya and papa karmas. And I also am the one who experiences the result of those karmas. I perform and it is gone. It's not like that. I perform and I experience the result of those karmas also. Okay. Vichitra rachana vishishtam jagat mai pratibhati. And I also see that this variedly different kind of strange creation, the world, is superimposed in me. It is superimposed in pratibha. He says, iti pratibha, mai pratibhati. It shines in me. So it's superimposed in me. Okay. Jagat karani bhuta mula jnana nivruttaye aham brahma vijnase. So for the ignorance, the mula jnasa, causal ignorance, we said there are two types of ignorance. One is mula jnana, there is another is stula jnana. Mula ajnana means the primal ignorance with reference to the self. The ignorance which hides the self, which veils the self, is mula jnana, primal ignorance. Secondary ignorance or ignorance with reference to object is called as stula ajnana. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is glass. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is computer. So the ignorance that veils the object, that is stula jnana. The ignorance that veils the effect is stula jnana. The ignorance that veils the self is mula ajnana. So he says, mula jnana nivartaya, to get rid of this mula jnana, which is the cause for creation, because the self is veiled. Suddenly, this ignorance starts projecting this world. So for that, Brahma Vijignyase. So I know, I have to know the self. Okay. Brahmanastu punya pape nasta. But the Brahman does not have punya or papa. I have punya or papa and I enjoy the results of punya or papa. But the Brahman does not have punya or papa. And Janma Marana, Sugudukkadi Klesho Api, Klesha Lesho Api Brahmano Nasamboti. And the birth, death, happiness, sorrow, etc., all these kind of troubles don't even taint the Brahman. I experience all that I already said. They don't even taint. Even a small little bit of these don't exist in Brahman. He is trying to establish that Jiva and Brahman are absolutely different. Ata eva tasya na jnane ichhapi. And for that very reason, I desire to gain the knowledge of self to get rid of the mula jnana. And Brahman, since it is not tainted by any of this, it does not have the desire for knowledge also. Okay, so this is the table. A self is the performer of punya papa. Brahman is non-performer. B self is the individual self. The jiva is one who experiences the result of those karmas. Brahman has no result. I desire to gain the knowledge to get rid of the mula jnana. Brahman does not desire. So, ata eva tasya. Tasma, therefore, this is the conclusion. Mama brahmanascha mithaha swarupato bheda eva vartate. Therefore, between me and the self, between I and the self, there is completely a great difference. They are never identical. It's not possible at all to establish them to be identical. Tatah, therefore, dvayoho aikyam naiva gateta. Therefore, it is not possible to establish identity between these two. यद्यपि जन्मादि संसारः परमार्थो मय्यपि नास्त्येव. Okay, wait. I also know in reality the birth, death, etc. Samsara does not exist in me. I know that. तथापि still मिथ्याभूतो जन्मरणात्मकः संसारो मयि स्वप्नवत् भ्रान्त्या प्रतिभाति. Still, like an illusion, like the dream, the cycle of birth and death is perceived in me. They are existing in me. Brahmani tu tannaiva pratibhati, and in Brahman that never exists. Even though illusory, it exists in me. But in Brahman it does not exist. Even that does not exist. Therefore, Jiva Brahmno ittam bheda sadbhavad aikyam na sambhavati. Since there is very clear difference between the difference in nature between the Jiva and Brahman, there can be no identity between them. Ayam cha prameya gata samshaya. This is the doubt regarding the prameya. Doubt regarding the prameya means doubt regarding the object. Prameya means object. Doubt regarding the object. Doubt regarding the object means doubt regarding the self. So he says 171. Shrutya karma upasana vidhi balacha jiva brahma bheda shanka. So now he goes on to the next stage. Shrutya karma upasana vidhi balacha. Shrutya karma upasana vidhi balacha. Through the shruti, to the karma, to the upasana vidhi. The vidhi, the injunction which is given in the shruti regarding the karma and upasana. Through this also, to the strength of this also, Jiva Brahma Bheda Shanka. I can very clearly establish that Jiva and Brahman are different. Because all these karmas and upasanas are prescribed to me, not the Brahman. So he says, hey Swamin Lord, Mama Samshayantaram api jayate. There is another doubt. He enlisted beautifully the doubts. He established the difference between the individual self and the absolute self. And he said, this is the doubt. Doubt regarding, remember that, doubt regarding prameya, the object of knowledge. Okay. Now he says, Mama samshaya antaramapi, there is another doubt for me. What is that? Shrutya eva vakshyamana prakarena jivabrahmanoho bheda pratipadyate. Shruti very clearly establishes the difference between the Jivan and Brahma. Very clearly it establishes. Where did you see that? Because Dva Suparna Swayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham Parishasvajate Tayoranyah Pippalam Swadvati Anashnan Anyo Abhichakashiti Itihi Shrutihi. It's a very beautiful mantra which is seen in both Mundaka Upanishad and Shvetashara Upanishad. Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya. There are two birds of same feather sitting on the same branch. Dva Suparna, Shobhana Parnayasya, one who has a beautiful feather, beautiful wing. So, Sayuja, they both exist together under Sakhaya, same branch. Samanam Sakhaya, Vriksham, Samanam Vriksham Parishad, they sit in the same branch of the same tree. Now, two birds, the Shruti very clearly establishes two birds. So the first bird, what is the difference between these two birds? Because we are trying to establish the difference between individual self and absolute self. So he says, Tayoho Anya Pippalam Swadvati. Among these two, one enjoys the fruit of the tree. Pippalam. It's a tree. The banyan tree, the fruit of banyan tree, it enjoys. The other one, Abhichakashiti, it just looks at it. It doesn't eat the fruit. Eating the fruit of Pippala means eating the fruit of karma. One enjoys the fruits of karma, the good and bad karmas. The other one just sees it as witness. It does not enjoy. So, very clearly, the Shruti establishes the duality of Jiva and Brahman. Jiva is one who experiences the karma, as I said earlier in the previous paragraph, and Brahman does not. Ayam artha. This is the meaning. He is also giving the meaning. Ayam artha. Buddhi rupe ekasmin vrikshau dvau pakshinau vasatah. In the same tree of intellect, two birds stay. Tau ubhaupi samana svabhavo. They both are of same nature. Tatra ekah karmaphala bhokta apara shuddha bhogarahitah. Asanga san karmaphala bhoktaram prakasheti. One experiences the result of the karmas, the other one without experience the result of karma, the other one who is pure without experiencing the result of karma illumines the one who experiences the result of karma. He illumines him. He gives him existence. Anayoh karmaphala bhokta jivaha aparaha paramatma iti pratiyate. And with this, I clearly understand that the one who experiences the karma is the jiva, and the one who does not experience the karma is a paramatma. Clear? Iti evam shrutyaiva jivarmano bheda pripadanat na tayoh aikyam yuktam. Therefore, it is very clearly established in the Shruti itself. My experience is there and Shruti is there. So, we accept three pramanas. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. First, he established it through Anubhava, his experience. Now, he shows it through Shruti also. Shruti also says that. Therefore, this is not possible. Kincha, moreover, Vede nana prakarani karmani upasanani cha tatra kathistani. And in the Vedas, different kinds of karma and different kinds of upasana. Upasana is a kind of meditation. Any karma, any physical act which is performed outside, if you perform the same act inside in the mind, that meditation is called as upasana, to simplify it. So, he says, Tani nirthakani syuhu jiva brahmanoho ekatva bhyome. If we accept the identity between Jiva and Brahman, then these upasanas will become redundant. These karmas, who are you giving the karmas and upasanas to? To me? It is not possible because I am without any association with karmas. Because I am self. So, I should not be self, the absolute self, if I have to follow the karmas. And the Shruti is directly giving me the injunction of the karma and upasana. Tatahi. This is how it is. Jiva Brahmanoh ekatvam. Kim Brahmani Jiva Surupantarbhavat. Kim va Jive Brahma Surupantarbhavat. No Veta api sambhavati. Okay. You said the individual self and the absolute self are one. Okay. How is that? Are you bringing in the individual self inside the absolute self? Or are you bringing the absolute self inside the individual self? How do you propose to establish the identity? By bringing the individual self in identical with the absolute self, or the absolute self in identical or in with the individual self. Wait, don't answer. Ubhayata api na sambhavati. Both are impossible. In both ways, it is impossible. Why? ब्रह्मणि जीव रूपांतर्भाव अभ्युगमे जीवस्यैव ब्रह्मरूपत्वात् कर्मोपासनादि अधिकार्य अभाव प्रसंगात् कर्मोपासनादि निरर्थकानि स्युः. Because ब्रह्मणि जीव रूपांतर्भाव अभ्युगम, if you accept the individual self merging in the absolute self or being included in the absolute self, then जीवस्यैव ब्रह्मरूपत्वात्, the jiva is the Brahman. Jiva essentially becomes the Brahman. Therefore, karma upasana adi adhikari abhava prasanga. If the jiva becomes Brahman, if you bring the jiva inside the Brahman, the jiva has become Brahman now. If it has become Brahman, then there is no one to perform the karma or upasana, etc. There is no adhikari, there is no seeker. Since there is no seeker, whatever is prescribed in the Vedas, for the seeker, they will become useless, redundant. Therefore, okay, no. Jiva Brahma. I am not putting this Jiva in the Brahman, but Brahman in Jiva. Very good. Jivecha Brahma Swarupa Antarbhava Abhyogame. If you bring in the Brahman inside the Jiva, then what happens? Jiva Bhava Pannatvad Brahman has tafas upasya abhava prasangaha. Now, still, Jiva Bhava Pannatvad Brahmana. The Brahman has become Jiva now. If you bring the Jiva inside the Brahman, the Jiva has become Brahman, there is no seeker. If you bring the Brahman inside the Jiva, now Brahman has become Jiva. You understand? Brahman has become Jiva. Now, in this situation, he says, Jiva Bhava Apannatvat Brahmana. The Brahman has become Jiva. Therefore, Upasya Abhava Prasangat. Again, the statements of the Shruti is redundant. Why? I can understand if the Jiva becomes the self, there is no seeker. Fine. But if this Brahman becomes Jiva, there is a seeker, right? So there is no problem. There should be no problem for the injunctions. True. But what will the seeker meditate upon? There is no one to meditate, nothing to meditate, because Brahman is gone. So he says, Upasya abhava prasanga iti upasana vakyani nishphalani syuh. Therefore, again, the injunctions of meditation, karma, etc. becomes useless. Whichever way, the Jiva in Brahman or Brahman in Jiva, both ways, the karmas and upasanas are useless. He says, okay. Apicha, moreover, karma phala dhatuhu ishvarasya abhavat karma anushtanam pi nishphalam syat. There is no Ishvara who provides the karma results. For the karma to produce a result, there should be some manager who says, okay, you have performed this karma, I'll give you this result. Oh, you performed it there, the same karma, but this result is different. No, you are a different person from a different hierarchy, so I will not give you that result. Same person performing, even in today's world, you see this. How can the results be different? Yes, a manager in a big MNC, if she, then she will not get the same money. If it is he, she gets same money. Same job, same different money. So this is possible everywhere. If you are not eligible for a karma and you have performed that karma, you cannot claim the results just because you are eligible. No, there is no hierarchy there. So he says, and a karma performed should be performed in a auspicious place. If you are performing in an auspicious place, the result is more. If you are performing in, if you are going to perform in a semi-auspicious place, the result is a little downgraded. If you are going to perform in a inauspicious space, then there is no result. There are grades there also. So he says, karma atiriktam ishvaro nasti swatantram karma eva phalam dadati iti mimamsako uktopi. No. See, you don't understand. You are talking about Vedas. Yes. The Vedas very clearly established. The Purvamimamsaka says. What does he say? The Vedas very clearly established the karmas are, the results are not ordained by some Ishvara. He is not going to, oh, you get this, you get this. No. There is no Ishvara to ordain all this result. Then how? Karma itself decides the result. Karma itself will produce the result. That is also not right. Why? Karma is jada. Jadatvat karmana. Karma is jana. Inert, cannot decide what result it should produce. So that is also not possible. There is no Ishvara to give you result. The karma cannot give you result because it is inert. Then how will you gain the result? Nahi jadasya karmanah phaladatruttva rupa samarthyam ghatate. You cannot accept an inert object to give the result, produce the result. Atah, therefore, sarvajnadeva ishvarat karma phala siddhir vacha. Therefore, you should have to accept without exception. You have to accept that the Ishvara is the one who gives the result of the karmas. Okay, so what is the problem? Tasma jivatma paramatmanoho ekattam na yujyate. If you accept that, then you are in square one. What is the square one? Jiva and Brahman are different. Therefore, ayam cha pramanagata samshaya. This is the doubt with regards to the pramana. See, first he established the difference between the Ishvara and Jiva according to its nature. There, that the problem is with the prameya, the object of knowledge. Object of knowledge, the object Jiva is different from the object Brahman because they have different characteristics. Now he says, if they are one, then what is the point in the Vedas explaining the karmas and results? The Jiva does not have karma. Jiva has karmas. The Ishvara does not have karma. If the Jiva became Ishvara, then there is no karma possible because he is Ishvara. And who will give the result for Ishvara? And if Ishvara became Jiva, then there is no Ishvara to give results again. So, whichever way, there is no possibility of the Jiva to be Ishvara, Jiva to be Paramatma. This is the doubt regarding Pramana. Because the mode of knowledge is not, because Shruti itself very clearly says it's different. Now, how will you establish through the Shruti that the karma and upasana are proper and the identity which it established is also right? There are two problems here. One is Pramayagata Samshaya, the other is Pramanagata Samshaya. We have discussed about the Pramanagata and Pramayagata very early. Prameyagata Samshaya and Pramanagata Samshaya, the doubt regarding the object and the doubt regarding the means. The doubt regarding the object is gotten rid through the Shravana. The doubt regarding the means is gotten rid through the Manana. Pramanagata Samshaya, Prameyagata Samshaya can be removed only through these. We established that earlier. Now he says, okay. Swarupa Bheda Jiva Brahmano Aikya Sangatariti Shanka Samadhanam. We are answering the first doubt. Since their characteristics is different, they cannot be identical. That you said is not right. How? Akashasya Chaitanyasyapi Chaturvidho Bhedaha 172. He says, like the space, the self also has 4 different states. The self is also of 4 types. Like the space is of 4 types, the self is also of 4 types. This is an idea. Majority of the teaching here in this is taken from Panchadashi. So many people who studied Panchadashi, or many people, when I was teaching Panchadashi in Vrindavan, this old man, 90 plus, he was in absolute bliss because he is understanding the teaching he studied in this. His guru has made him, he was a teacher in the school. His guru has made him to memorize the whole text in Hindi. This basically written in Hindi, I said. He knows the whole text. Even during the class, he'll recite it. But he does not know the nuances, the subtle meaning. When we explained it there, he was in joy actually. So he says, this, this very idea is explained in Panchadashi. Okay. Like the space is of 4 types. The Chaitanya, the consciousness is also of 4 types. Spaces of 4 types. Have you heard spaces of 4 types? No. He says, we are not talking about the continent. Oh, my country space, your country space. No, that is not the case. What is then? He says, Hey Somya, dear, Tot Sandeha Nivartaka Vichara Rupam Upadesham Shrunu. I am going to get rid of your doubt. The inquiry into the process which I am going to do, listen to it properly. This inquiry which I am going to do is going to get rid of the doubt which you presented. Okay. यथा एकस्य एव आकाशस्य घटाकाशः जलाकाशः मेघाकाशः महाकाश इति चतुर्विध भेदो अस्ति तथैव एकस्य चैतन्यस्य. So one and the same space, we say space, all pervading space, omnipresent space. The same space is categorized in 4 ways. First is Ghatakasha, the space inside the pot. Understand this. This is a very beautiful way he presents. It's a novel way of presenting the Jiva and Ishvara. Panchadeshikara has done a tremendous job of it. And it is scientific also, if you want scientific. So what does he say? Ghatakasha, one is pot space. The second is Jalakasha, water space. Third is Meghakasha, cloud space. Fourth is Mahakasha, the great space, absolute space. Pot space, water space, cloud space, absolute space. The space. What are the 4 spaces? Pot space, water space. 2. Okay. Third one is cloud space, space. Mahakasha, great space. How do we remember that? Forget it. Pot. Inside the pot is, if the glass is empty, you have pot space, right? If the glass is empty, you have pot space. Now, there is a reflection of something. The space, reflection of space here. So that space getting reflected. If it is night or if it is stars, I can see the light. So the reflection of space is there in the pot, in the water. Pot space, water space. In the pot, there is a embodiment. The embodiment of space is there. The pot is embodying the space. So first, if you fill it with water, then the water is reflecting the space. Second, water space. Okay. Now, the absolute space, unembodied space. Absolute space, unembodied space. And the fourth space is a cloud space. What is cloud space? The space getting reflected upon the cloud. What? Yes, go up the cloud. Because cloud bears water, it should have to reflect the space above it. Water reflects. Cloud has water. So that water reflects the space above it. Simple logic. So he says 4. What is that? Pot, and inside the pot, water. So pot space, water space. Then great space, and the space reflected in the cloud. The great space reflected in the cloud. Okay, 4 spaces. Similarly, now each one of them has a, see, we are not talking about the space. We have enough space in our head, inside our head. We are talking about the consciousness. So what is that? Equivalent. Take the equivalent. Kutastha, Jiva, Ishvara, Brahma cha iti. The first pot space is Kutastha. Kutavat sthita iti Kutastha. Okay. Then the second space is Jalakasha, reflected space, that is Jiva. The space inside the pot is a Kutastha. Okay. The space reflected in the water is a Jiva. Space reflected in the water is a Jiva. Okay. And the space reflected in the cloud is a Ishvara. And the great space is a Brahman. Essentially, Kutastha and Brahman are not different. They are different names, but not different entirely. Kutastha means Kutavat Sthita. It is like an anvil, substratum, that which does not change, changeless. Kutastha means anvil or changeless. That which does not undergo any change is called as Kutastha. And Brahman is also Kutastha, substratum. It does not undergo any change. So, the first and last, which is the pot space and the great space. They are both same. The reflection in the pot water and the reflection in the cloud water is a Jiva and Ishvara. You get that? That is Jiva and Ishvara. What is Jiva? What is Jiva? I used the prop. I didn't bring the prop. Tomorrow we'll take it. I used the prop of the vanity glass. So what is there? There is a box. There is a glass in it. The makeup glass. So there is a box. There is a glass. The box is the self, kutastha. The glass inside is ignorance or mind. So the box, the glass reflects the box also. So what is Jiva? Jiva is the box plus the glass plus the reflection in the glass. Individually, none of them can be qualified to be called as Jiva, but collectively they become Jiva. Like you have light outside. If you want to illumine this room, I use this glass, a mirror. I use a mirror to send the light from outside. So individually, the sun does not enter this room. The mirror cannot illumine this room. The light alone cannot illumine this room. So the light reflected through the mirror inside the room is what is called as a Jiva here. So the Kutastha, then the mirror, which is the reflecting medium. It can be ignorance or avidya, and the reflected self. Similarly, for Ishvara, the Brahman, the reflecting media, Maya, and the reflection of Brahman in that Maya. The difference is here there is the mirror of avidya for Jiva, and there is the reflection mirror of Maya. We call the Brahman Kutastha in the case of Jiva and Brahman in the case of Maya. That's all. It's just namesake difference. There is no different absolutely. So all the three, the reflected, the reflecting medium, and the reflection. Reflected, reflecting medium, reflection. Reflected, the self. Reflecting medium, the ignorance. Reflection of the self in that medium. All these three are called as Jiva or Ishvara. If the reflecting medium is mind or avidya, it is Jiva. If the reflecting medium is a Maya, then it is Ishvara. That is the difference. Okay. Now, कूटस्थ जीव ईश्वर ब्रह्म चेति भेद चतुष्टयमस्ति येषां स्वरूपं विचारपूर्वकं यदा सम्यक् विजानासि तदा त्वदीय सन्देहानां समाधानं त्वं स्वयमेव जानीयः. So if when I am going to explain this logically, then your doubts will be dispelled by yourself. I won't dispel it. When I explain it, you will yourself understand that the answer for your doubt, and you will remove your doubt. Okay. Atah tesham swarupam maya vijiyamana avadharya. Therefore, listen to me carefully. Avadharya, listen to me carefully. The nature of these two I am going to explain to you. Listen to me. तद अधिगमेन तव निस्संशय ज्ञानोदय द्वारा जन्मादि दुःखम निश्शेषम विनश्येत. When you understand this, by understanding what I am going to say, by understanding it without any doubt, the knowledge takes place. The knowledge dawns, knowledge devoid of doubt. If the knowledge is with doubt or the knowledge is erroneous, then there is no realization possible for anything. So I am going to give you knowledge, not Brahma, right knowledge. And that right knowledge also without doubts. Now, if you understand that, then Janmadi Dukkham Nichesham Vinashyet. Then the sorrow, the pain of a birth, etc., will be destroyed totally. Nishesham, without any residue, completely. So, okay. What is that? He's going to give the inquiry process. 173 to 176. Chaturvidha Akasha Varnanam. 4 types of space. He said 4 types of space. He is going to explain the 4 types of space. 173. Ghatakasha. What is Ghatakasha? Jalapurita Ghata Avasthanaya Yavan Akasho Avakasham Dadati Tavan Akasha Ghatakasha iti Panditaihi Uchyate. But wait. What is this? You took up the glass and you said the space inside the glass is a Ghatakasha, and the space reflected in the water is Mahakasha. I didn't get that. Okay. Now, if we empty, I am repeating it again. I told you this, but if you didn't listen, then again. When I empty this pot, this glass, what happens? When I empty this pot, what happens? There is nothing. There is nothing. That's what we say, but there is space, right? That nothingness is space. So it is filled with space. What is space? What is ether? According to the logicians, what is space? Avakasha pradatratvam akasham. What is akasha? Ether, that which gives a place for something to exist. So, if I want to fill water in this cup, then there should be empty space. So, that empty space inside the pot is what we call as a Ghatakasha. Okay. Now, this is what the Panditas say. Second, Jalakasha, water space. What is that? Jalapurne Ghate. When I am going to fill this glass with water, now this is filled with water. There, Jalapurne Ghate, Nakshatradi Sahita Akasha Pratibimbati, the reflection of the space along with the stars, etc., is seen here. When you say space, you look up. Logically speaking, when I say space, you should have to just stay there. That's all. Because everywhere there is space. But show me space. We immediately point out to the sky. So that very logic we will take up. That sky. And what is the color of space? Blue. Very good. So that very idea we take up. So that space which is blue and which is filled with stars and things, that gets reflected in the water. That is called as a water space. Space basically means to be empty, to give space for others to exist. Space is something which gives space for others to exist. That's a worst kind of logic explanation possible. Okay, space is emptiness. Okay, space is emptiness. Now, that emptiness is filled with water. In that water, you have reflection of the space, the great space. Empty space, pot space, water space, the space reflected in that water of pot. Okay, now, no, Akash is a Pradimbo Naijyote. But wait. Space means everywhere. Space is something which does not have any attribute. So, saying the reflection of space is stupid. You don't know science. That is why. No, we know science. This is written so long ago, even before you were the sky is blue because of this and because of that. And who said this? Dr. Raman. They call it Raman's effect. Why this cloud is blue, the sky is blue? That blueness of sky, that is called as Raman's effect. Even before Raman knew, we knew it. Even before Raman said, we knew it. He says, Nanu Akashasya Pradimbo Yujyate. I am talking about an Indian, but still, even before he said this, it's all said here. So, nanu akashasya pratibimbo na yujyate. Reflection of space is not right. Why? Kintu, but kevala nakshatradinam eva yujyate. For the stars, etc., except for the space, you said reflection of space. Reflection of star, if you say, okay, but there's no possibility of reflection of space. Rupabhavat akash, Rupabhavat na akashasya pratibimba samati. Because akasha, the ether, the space, does not have any form. There can be no reflection of the formless. Rupavato hi pratibimba syat. Only for that which has a form, there is reflection possible. Okay? Tasmat na akashasya pratibimba yujyate iti chet. Therefore, the reflection of space is impossible if you say, see, remember, pot space, water space, pot space, water space, kutastha, jiva, kutastha, jiva, pot space, kutastha, water space, jiva. Pot space is reflected, or the space is reflected, kutastha is reflected in the ignorance medium. Does Kutastha or Brahman have a form to get reflected in the ignorance? That itself is a fallacy. That itself is illogical. That kind of illogicality is what we are seeing here. So he says, okay, iti cheta, don't say that. Why? Jale akasha pratibimba anabhyogame goshpada परिमाणक स्वल्प जले महागजादि परिमाणक गभीरतायाः प्रतिबिंबो न स्यात्. Jale akasha pratibimba anabhyagama. If you don't accept the reflection of space in water, you have to accept the reflection of space in water. If you don't accept that, then what happens? Goshpada parimanaka swalpa jale. In water, goshpada means the hoof of a cow. When during the rainy season, then the cow presses its leg on a very soft soil. There is a pit kind of its hoof. Now inside that the rainwater is filled, or the water inside this cup, hoof size. In this, what is the reflection I see? I see not a reflection of small size, hoof size. I see the entire sky inside this. If you say the reflection is impossible, reflection of space is impossible, then this will not be possible. Able to see a huge reflection in a small space of water. So, iti mahagajadi parimanaka gabhirataya pratimbaha. You see in that small water, you see the reflection of big elephant kind of reflection also is seen in that small water. So, tatha upalabhyamanatvat akasha pratimbo angikaryeva. Since you see that in a small mirror, when you go to the mirror house, so they have small cut broken mirrors arranged in different ways. You go and stand in front of that. Every small mirror will reflect you. Every small mirror will have reflection of you. So if you don't accept that, then this will not be possible. It should be splitting you into different parts, and each will be showing different portion of your body. So he says, na cha nirupa padartha pratimbo nasti. And but I told you, see, forget about those things. I told you very clearly, formless cannot be reflected upon. How can you see a reflection of a formless? Don't say that. Why? Because he says, Nirupasya shabdasya pratidhvani darshanat. Formless cannot have reflection. That is not possible. Why? Even though the sound is formless, you still hear the echo. Formless sound produces echo. Echo is a reflection. So, such a pratidhvani shabdasya pratibimba eva. That reflection, that echo is a reflection of the sound. Tasmat nirupasyapi akashasya pratibimbo yujyate. Therefore, even though the space is formless, there is always a possibility of it being reflected. Okay. So, what space? What space? Water space. Very good. And there? No. That the four, not four spaces. Equivalent. Kutastha, Jiva. Pot space, Kutastha. Water space, Jiva. Okay. Now, Meghakasha. The third one is Meghakasha. The space reflected in the cloud. The space, Ishvara. Very good. So, Meghakasha, Meghasthitaye, Yavan Akasho, Avakasham Dadati, Tavan Akasha, Meghajale, Pratimbata, Akashaschet, Cha iti Ubayam Ritva, Meghakasha iti Avidhyate. What is Meghakasha? Meghakasha, Megha means cloud. Akasha space, cloud space. The space which is needed for the cloud to exist, the space which is needed for the cloud to exist, plus the water in the space which reflects that cloud is cloud space. The space which is needed for the cloud to exist, plus the water which reflects on the cloud is called as cloud space. There are two things. With respect to pot space, we said only the space where the water is going to be filled in. Now he says cloud space, both. The reflection also is included here. In water space, you included the reflection. Here in Megha, in the cloud space, the space for the cloud plus the reflection in the cloud. So he says, because it is Ishvara, there should be some speciality, of course. So, nanu akasho asti megha. No, akasha asti megha, but the space exists in the cloud exists in the space. Okay. Tatra meghe jalam akasha pratimbascha asti iti atra kim manamiti. What is the proof that in the cloud there is water and there is reflection in that water? Just because we are listening, you are just saying everything. What is the proof that the cloud holds water and there is reflection on that water? He says, iti chet, now don't say that. Yadyapi meghe jalasya akasha pratimbasya cha na pratyakshataha grahanam atapi anumanena grahanam sambhavati. Though what you say may seem to be true. Why? Because even though we can't see the reflection through our eyes, etc., direct perception, though we understand, we cannot perceive it directly. You should have to go above the clouds to see that. And when you fly above the clouds, it's just a dark, black, or white things. You don't see that. But through inference, I can establish that, he says. How? Yadi meghe तथा हि मेघात् जलवृष्टेः दर्शनात् तत्र जलम् अस्ति इति अनुमीयते. First inference. The rain comes from the clouds. Therefore, without holding rains, the clouds cannot pour. So we infer that the cloud has water. Okay? Very good. Yadi meghe jalam na syat, tarhi tato jalavrushtir na syat. So, direct concomitance is water comes from the cloud, therefore cloud has water. Indirect concomitance is if there is no water in the cloud, there will be no rain from the cloud. Direct and indirect concomitance, coexistence and coabsence. That is direct and indirect concomitance. If this exists, that exists. If this does not exist, that does not exist too. So since the water exists, there is in the cloud also there is water. If the cloud does not have water, there should be no rain. So both coexistence and coabsence, the direct and indirect concomitance, the Anvaya and Vyatireka fits the bill. Because you have to have concomitance for inference. That is why he is explaining this. Without concomitance, there can be no syllogism, there can be no inference. So he says, okay, now, yadi meghe jalam nasya tarhi, okay, kincha, moreover, मेघस्थम जलम आकाश प्रतिबिंब विशिष्टम स्वच्छ द्रव्यत्वात् दर्पणादिवत्. So now he is giving you the syllogism. What is the syllogism? This is what is मेघस्थम jalam, the water in the cloud, the place where you want to establish the water in the cloud. What about the water in the cloud? See, before getting into this, we'll recap what a syllogism is. Mountain has fire. You want to establish fire in the mountain. So, mountain, place of doubt. Fire, what you want to prove. Then, that is the first part. Second part is a logic. What is the reason you are going to give? Because it has smoke. Mountain has fire because it has smoke. Like example you have to give. Fourth. What is the example? Like kitchen. Okay. Now, remember this. Mountain, fire, smoke, kitchen. Now, mountain is a Meghastham Jalam. Mountain is a Meghastham Jalam. The water in the cloud. What is fire? Akasha Pradimba Vishtam is endowed with a reflection of space. That is fire. That is what we want to establish. Is endowed with a reflection of space. What is the smoke? Swachha Dravyatma, because it is pure substance. Water is pure substance. And what is the example? What is the kitchen? Darpanadivat, like in the mirror, etc. The mirror reflects the object. Similarly, the water there, which is pure, will reflect the object. Iti anumanena meghastha jale akasha pradimba anumanam cha siddhyati. With this inference, the water in the cloud definitely has the reflection of space is established. For Anumana, there are 4 parts. Basically, 3 parts. We are breaking it into 4 parts. Mountain, fire, smoke, kitchen. Now, in this place, water in the cloud has reflection of space. That is the second part. Third part, smoke, because it is pure. Fourth, example, which is mirror. So the example fits the bill. It is this is a proper logic. The logic should be proper. If it is not proper, it is not logic. It is called as illogic. We call it hetva bhasa. You cannot just use these 4 points and establish anything. I can say the same thing. Mountain has smoke because it has fire. If I'm going to give this example, this logic, then this logic may seem to be proper, but this is not true because your kitchen has fire, but it does not have smoke. Only when you burn things out. I'm not talking about your kitchen, somebody's kitchen. So there is a fire with gas. When you switch on the gas stove, there is fire, but there is no smoke. So I cannot give this as logic. The mountain has smoke because it has fire. That is wrong logic. That is wrong logic. But if I say mountain has fire because it has smoke, we know wherever there is smoke, there is fire. But wherever there is fire, there is no smoke. Wherever there is fire, the smoke need not exist. But wherever there is smoke, fire will definitely exist. So You have to be very particular about the logic. Okay. Now he says, यदि अस्ति जलं तर्हि तज्जलम आकाश प्रतिबिंबेन विना न स्यादिति नियमः. If there is water in the cloud, then that water should have reflection. Without reflection, there can be no water. This is the rule. Whether it's pot or it's glass or it is cloud, wherever there is water, water is pure. It should have to have reflection. Evam meghe jalam tatra akasha pratibimbascha anumanena prasiddhi. Therefore, we have established there is water in the cloud, and in that cloud water there is reflection. Through inference, we have established this. Now, the fourth one is Mahakasha. What is Mahakasha? The great space. Brahmandasya antarbahishcha vyapya ekarupena vartamana akasha mahakasha iti vidbadvihi ityuchyate vidbadvihi. Whatever space that exists in this universe and out of this universe, if at all, whatever you want to say. So the universe, inside the universe and outside the universe, whatever space that engulfs it, that space is what is called as Mahakasha. That space is what is called as Mahakasha. So 4 classifications: pot akasha, pot space, water space, cloud space, great space. Pot space, water space, cloud space, great space. Pot space, water space, cloud space, great space. Now we have to show the similarity with Kutastha, Jiva, Ishvara and Brahman. Kutastha, Ishvara, Jiva and Brahman. We'll come to this. We'll see. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.